This is BL in the Air. My name is Chy,
And I'm Alex.
and today we are going to continue our discussion and dissection on the show 4 Minutes. Last week we did the first half of the show, and then this week we'll do the latter half of the show, so from episode 5 to episode 8. But before we get into that, Alex, what's in the air with you?
I haven't watched a whole lot since we recorded the first half of this episode.
Yeah.
Um, but I did watch the newest episode of Jack and Joker, so we're up to episode 4 finally.
Nice.
Um, I
Still
love
liking
this
it?
show so much. Yes, it's so good. Ian and Ward, they're like dynamic. I just love it so much. And there's a lot of fighting in there, so there's a lot of like fighting choreo.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That's always fun.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job of it. So Yin apparently studied like Taekwondo for like 3 months just for like this role.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, and you can definitely tell because like his character is like a was like a Taekwondo person, so
Mhm.
kind of needs to know it a little bit.
Yeah.
But even with that, just the like the choreography of like the fight scenes has been really cool. Um, so but yeah, it's
Nice.
been a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I hate that I started watching it with like episode 2.
I know.
Because every week I'm like, "Okay, when can I watch the next episode? What?" And
Is
then
it
I
a
just
10 episode show?
12.
12, okay.
Yeah, so it goes all the way through, like, the end of November. Um,
Yeah. I'm gonna try my typically my rule of thumb is to not start watching a show till like it's halfway done. So
yeah, so 2
I'll
more
probably wait
weeks.
till 6 then.
Yeah,
But
so but yeah, it's so I am going on a trip in, like, 2 weeks, and so I won't have any time to watch anything, so at least all these on-air shows by then I'll have stuff to binge when I come back.
that's true. Yeah, that'll be really nice.
Yeah, so that's it's like the holdout where I'm like, I'm gonna be sitting there and like in bed at night and be like, can I watch something on my phone?
Yeah. I do that sometimes, honestly, if like my laptop's dead or something and like I don't know. I've done it
Yeah,
before.
yeah. I have to be careful that I don't stay up all night watching something because I'm not thinking
Mm,
about it.
that's
Um,
true.
because where I'm going, the room I sleep in, there's like not like a clock, so I don't ever know what time it is, especially if I have something full screen on my phone.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
That's true, you do get sucked in.
hmm but yeah, that's been it. Just Jack and Joker. I still have one episode of Long Beans left. Um,
Yep.
maybe I'll watch it tonight. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, probably not, to be honest. Um, what about you? What's in the air with you?
Oh, man. So, I mean, since we recorded the last episode, it hasn't been that long, so I didn't really watch anything in the meantime. The one thing I did watch last night, I watched, Dan and Phil's new video,
I
and
love
I feel
them.
like yeah, I feel like that's relevant enough.
Yes.
Yeah, this one, I mean, um the one that just came out, they're playing one of those, like, board games, like the tweet one where they have to
hmm
guess who's tweeting or whatever. I don't know. They're so
Yeah.
silly, but I love, it's fun to see, like, board games on the gaming channel too, because 'cause I'm a board game stan, so
Yeah. I really like board games too, and like I don't have any like local friends that like board games, so like
oh, yeah.
I don't ever get to play.
Yeah.
Just living vicariously.
Yeah, I, like, work at a board game cafe, so it's nice because I, like,
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm, like, meeting people who like board games and getting to bring them home for the night and stuff, but yeah, a lot of times I'm, like, teaching them, I'm not playing them myself, so there's, like, a
Oh,
lot of games where I'm, like I'll, like, learn the rules for a game, but I'll never have played it myself, and I'll just, like, pretend like I have to people who have, like, questions about it because I don't wanna just be like, "Oh, yeah, I was really dead the other day," and so I just, like, read rules, you know? I don't wanna sound like a loser,
that's
but
really funny though.
yeah, so yeah, I love board games. I love Dan and Phil. I'm excited to see them on tour in a month.
Yeah, and then I see them a couple weeks after you. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I love how I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, Dan and Phil," and I just assume everyone knows who that is. So
Oh, yeah, I did too.
if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know who Dan and Phil are, but they are
I hope
YouTubers.
so. Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, you should check them out.
Yeah, they've been in the scene since, like, 2008, 2009.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and they're both gay, which is why we were like they they fit the theme. Um
Yeah, it's BL in a way, you know?
Yeah, so they live together, they have, like, built this house together, they share the mortgage, so,
Mhm.
like, they haven't publicly come out as a couple, but it's kind of implied at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, should we
yep,
continue our 4 minute?
yeah.
Our 4 minutes.
Yep.
As far as we know, we could be
Oh god,
fine.
I'm trying to think what in your life do you have any recent events that you would replay in a different way, the way Great is?
Oh my god, I feel like I have oh yes, okay. They're all just embarrassing moments, you
Oh,
know?
no.
One time, like, my neighbor was, like, moving out, and she also lived with her, like, boyfriend or something, and, like, I talked to her sometimes, I didn't talk to him as much, but then they were, like, moving out, and they told us they were moving out, whatever, and then one time, like, they were packing stuff, and I didn't recognize him because he had his hair down, I didn't realize his hair was, like, to his waist when it was
Oh
down,
gosh.
I'd never seen that before, so I saw him from the back, and I thought they were new people moving in, and I
Oh,
walked up,
no.
I was like, "Are you moving in?" And he turned around, and he probably just, like, oh, it was so embarrassing because I was just like, I don't know. It was so bad. I would redo that. I would just not say anything. So much that's what I get for trying to be neighborly, I'm not gonna lie. So that's my 4 minutes is just silently walking home.
I don't know that I have anything off the top of my head. Um,
Yeah.
if I wanna go with something recent, I actually this is really dumb. So I work in a lab, right? And I was trying to check something behind one of the ovens, and so I was, like, trying to, like, look behind the oven, and I slammed my head onto, like, the fire extinguisher side
No.
so that was on Monday, and I was sitting at my desk today, and I was like, "Why does the top of my head hurt?" I was like, "What did I do?" And then I was like, "Oh my god, it was from when I slammed my head into the sign." So, like, I have, like, a huge, like, tender spot, like, right at, like, my, like, hairline.
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
if if I could redo anything right now, it would be that, so I don't hurt myself.
That also reminds me similarly with an oven. I went to go unplug the oven at work, like, a couple weeks ago, and I, like, electrocuted myself. And, like
Shy, please.
literally, okay, I didn't, like, think anything of it because I was like, "It's a plug in a socket in the wall," and it zapped me so freaking hard. I
Oh
was
my
just like
gosh.
it was so bad. I was, like, buzzing after that. I was like, "Someone else can unplug this because I literally I, like, sent in the group chat because I was like that was, like, the one day I was managing, of course, like, just because there's something going on, so, like, default it fell to me, which I'd never manage. And it was just the end of the day, and I electrocuted myself. I think I just texted in the chat. I was just like, "Okay, I electrocuted myself, and I'm done for the day. Don't contact me until like next week." Like, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're okay now, right?
Oh yeah, I'm all good. It wasn't that bad, but it hurt. And then for the next like 2 hours, I was very energized.
That's so scary.
Yeah. So I'd go
Mm.
back in time and stop myself from doing that because once again, that was also embarrassing, so
Well, that was more of a safety issue then.
yeah. Yeah, I will never be the one to unplug it again, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I'd be like, "That's just gonna stay plugged in."
Yeah.
Um, no, I can't think of anything else that I would redo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, in all fairness, most of these are like, "Oh, I killed someone, I'm gonna go back in time so I don't kill them anymore."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's hard to relate to.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one time that he, like, ran into time Great ran into, like, time in, like, the I almost said the kitchen now, the, hospital
Hospital?
when the
Yeah,
papers went flying.
yeah.
Um, a lot of times, like, the way I look at things, I'm like, everything happened and made me who I am now, so it's like, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Right.
I
It's
could do
like
with a couple less injuries. Um,
yeah, I know it does feel very like butterfly effecty, but
yeah,
yeah, definitely if you could go back in time and injure yourself less, that's always a good one to pick, I think.
yeah. I I have enough scars that when I went to the doctor for a knee issue recently, and he like looked at my legs and was like, are you okay?"
No.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine." And he's like, "Is this why you have knee problems?" And I went, "Maybe. I don't know. You tell me."
So I guess recap of where we left off. We're mostly in Great's 4-minute timeline where we left off, where the whole thing where Nan was being interrogated and um Great goes back in time to saves her and then like helps her escape. Um and that's pretty much where we left off.
Yeah, they dropped her off at the hospital, and then they went to the tent and had sex. Um,
Yeah. What a crazy way to end that episode, but
yeah,
yeah. So we start episode 5. Um the pre-theme song scene that we get is we see like at some club there's Title and then he's dancing with some girls and they're hanging out and you see one of those girls pour something into his drink, and then as they're leaving you see like Title passes out and she's kind of carrying him they're like under the bridge or some in some parking, I don't know, they're somewhere kind of sketchy looking, and she sets him down and some other guys walk up and it's clear that they're the one who paid her to drug this guy, and we see a guy kneel next to Title and he's in a black hoodie and you're not supposed to fully know who it is because they don't fully show his face, but it is Tonkla. So that's the scene that is happening, that's gonna happen in the future pretty much.
yeah. So this is after the opening scene from episode 4, right? But it's still technically before episode 5 or episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. As much sense as it can make.
Yeah, the timelines on this are tough.
They are. I do feel confident though that I have most of it figured out.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Watching it a second time helped a lot.
Yeah. And I'm sure watching it a third time, like I might even do that just to like really, get it all
Yeah.
together.
I mean, that's what Bible said to do. He was in a video and he literally went, "If you didn't understand it, just watch it again."
Yeah. Honestly, it's great advice. Like
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense now. Um But we pick up back with Great and Time, who are in that like tent Airbnb looking thing, and they're on this like big outdoor swing. It looks so nice.
It does. I love this
Yeah,
scene.
I do too. At time he picks up a guitar, of course, and he starts singing.
There's our bingo square.
Yeah, there's our bingo square. He sounds good though. I was like, oh yeah, I don't mind
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think he sings a little bit on the as secondary career type thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't be surprised. It was cute. It sounded nice. It wasn't as bad as other, guitar scenes,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, because he does the closing song. That's him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At the
That's
very, very end of
fun.
the last episode.
I love when they have actors do some of the music in the show, if they're musically inclined.
Yeah, I was about to say only if they have the talent for it.
Yeah.
Not always the
And it's
case.
fun. Oh my god, when you told me that Cowtongue sings the Only Friends theme song, blew my mind, let me tell you.
He's so good. I love him so much.
Yeah, because I love that song. Like, I was like, this is the best theme song I've like ever heard for a TBL. And then, yeah,
Yeah, it definitely fits Only Friends very well.
uh-huh, it is, yeah, and it's like a song I'm like, oh yeah, I'd listen to this like on its own.
Mhm.
And then so he sings a song, and then they're chatting, and um, Great asked Time, or he asked Time like, why are you so sure that my parents killed you, like, you know, and Time tells him that his mom left behind a journal which documented like her whole like a lot of her life, and it also documents how Great's parents are the ones who sent people to harass them, and then eventually like they were the ones that got them shot and killed. So he has his mom's, you know,
Yeah,
life evidence here, which is how that's the reason why he knows that Great's parents were involved.
which doesn't surprise me. Great's parents kind of suck.
They really do. Ugh. It's interesting too how like I mean we'll get Time's parents' stories, but it's interesting how they're all like involved together, you know.
Mhm.
And then we also get Nan's backstory. So her and Time, they met in the hospital because she came in and she was having an ectopic pregnancy. And she also came with a man who I mean I can't read Thai, but on his shirt, it must have been like the logo or something that connected him to Great's parents' company. Um, it was something that Time saw that made him put this connection together. So he asked that man to like leave, and then he kind of goes up to Nan and he was like, "Hey, like I know you're in a bad situation. I know the people who are like, you know, kind of like holding you captive. Like how can I help you? Like whatever." So they kind of strike up like an alliance. Um,
The the guy that is with her at the hospital, is that the same guy that was interrogating her?
yeah, it's like the manager of the investment
I don't think I caught
company.
that the first time.
Yeah, he is like the main. He's also the guy that she was like um
She, like, hooked up with
sleeping
him so
with.
she could get into the, like, the safe and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's kind of implied that he's the one that caused the pregnancy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the same guy. He
Okay.
sucks so
Yeah.
bad.
That makes things even more different now that they have a much more established relationship.
Yeah, right?
Oh, okay. Having to process things in real time right now.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so fun about this show.
Yeah. There's always stuff like that. I'm so bad
Yeah.
with faces that there's no way I would have noticed that.
No, it's okay. This second part of the show, he's in it a lot, so I was able to
Mhm.
like, yeah, remember him. Um, and then we kind of go back in time to like her backstory where we kind of see that she has like, she's, she lived, they all like, I guess like live where the investment company is. They're not really free to go, it's on like an island and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, and she has a friend that she's very, very close with. And she's kind of telling her friend like about the pregnancy and stuff. And I think it's kind of implied that the same thing is happening to her friend.
Mhm.
I kind of skipped through this part because it's really, really sad, and I was like, I don't want to go through this again. Um, and because after that, her friend goes missing. She hasn't been seen for a bit, and then Nan, the witnesses them carry her friend out of a room, and she's dead, and she's like covered in blood. Um, and yeah, it's really horrible.
Yeah, that is awful. That was not my favorite scene. Um,
No. And so this is kind of the catalyst that leads Nan to deciding to work with Time. And so if, yeah, from there on out, their kind of deal is that Nan is the one to gather information. She's kind of the insider, and their main goal is to like get this information, like evidence, and like share it all over social media to get Great's parents caught. So that's the master plan, and Great doesn't want them to go through with the idea. But it's mostly because he's worried about like their safety, like especially like Time safety and like his grandma's safety, because he's just like, yeah, if you guys do this, you're just gonna become like complete targets, you know?
that is a valid concern because
Oh
that's
yeah.
like I don't taking it to social media. I don't know what he expects to accomplish.
That seems to be so this is like a common theme I feel because when I think we'll did we I don't remember if we got to this or if we will get to this, but when it's comes to the murder of Tankla's brother, when they get evidence for it, they can't share it. Like they can't go through the legal way, so they're like, "Oh, we'll do it on social media," because it seems like the media pressure there is very like,
Guess.
it's
'Cause I mean
just
I
as
mean,
good almost.
yeah, I guess that's what they did in Pit Babe too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that's the way to get anything done, which, I mean, I guess we do that a little bit here too, it just you gotta make sure it
Mhm.
actually blows up.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the idea is that if the institution is corrupt, then kind of going that right way is not going to get you as far as it is if you get like media pressure.
yeah,
So
that
I
makes
think that's
sense.
their idea because they're just like, oh yeah, these people are very wealthy and well connected. Like if we go and report it to someone, they could just like pay them off or something.
Yeah, I just
Um,
I do think Great would be correct in saying that, that's gonna literally just put a huge target on time. Um,
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it does. So well, as we'll see,
do that.
unfortunately. Yeah. And then so this is so they kind of go like, you know, uh, back home or whatever and um I think Great plans to move into a hotel because he interfered with the whole like Nan's murder and interrogation stuff. And so
Yeah.
as he's pulling up to do that, Korn finds him, his brother. And of course, Korn is mad, but he's mostly confused about Great's action. Because, like, as far as he knows, like, Great is his very, um, like, naive younger brother who he doesn't know about any of this stuff, right? Like, and
Yeah.
in the past, he doesn't care about this stuff. He's kind of just like slightly fuckboy in a way. Not even fuckboy, but he's just like, he seems to just like to like drink with his friends and stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, he's kind of a loser.
He is
He's
kind of
just
a
he's
loser.
just a rich, spoiled loser, to be honest.
Yeah, like he's just like college student, like whatever. And
Yeah, but
but he's not
he
been like into this stuff before.
no, and, like, he and Corn seem to have a pretty good relationship, like,
Mhm.
surprising for, like, the whole, like, half-sibling dynamic thing. Normally in
Yeah,
shows like
right.
this, they don't have good relationships, that's what I was expecting. Um,
Yeah, and like Corn's like fairly protective of Great.
mhm.
Yeah. So he's like he's asking him like why did you do this? And like, you shouldn't have done this whatever. And he tries to keep this Corn tries to keep this information from their parents. Like he asked the manager guy, like, don't tell my parents that Great did this, whatever. And but they find out anyway.
Doesn't the
And
manager just, like, immediately turn around and call them?
oh my god, so quick. He does not listen to Corn at all. It's like the next scene.
Yeah, I don't think Corn ever got, like, the respect of anybody there when he got
Mm-mm.
put in charge. Too much went
No.
wrong very quickly. Um,
Yeah, he kind of just like ran that business into the ground, which like, you know,
I
it's
mean,
an
he
illusion.
got it handed to him without any, like, knowledge.
Yeah, I know. They kind of just threw him into it and they were like,
Yep.
here you
"Here, you're
go. This
gonna
is very
be in charge
important and
of"
very illegal.
right? Like, okay.
Thanks a lot.
For being such a savvy businessman, you would expect a little more from dad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they know and they ask about Nan and they were like, okay, like so the Nan was there and then they were like, who was the other guy? And the manager guy's like, I don't know. And they're like, okay, you need to go find out who the other guy is. So now they are officially looking for Time. He's officially involved.
as is expected.
Yeah. Yep. And of course then we see at the hospital, we see that someone's kind of following Time around. I didn't really catch who it was because they had like a hat and a mask on. I wasn't paying
Ye
that close attention, but someone is following him.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was either.
Yeah. Um, and then so Corn he finds Great in the parking lot, and um he tells him like not to get involved, and it's mostly out of care, you know. He's like, dude, like don't get involved with this, like it doesn't concern you, like, you know, like it's mostly
Yeah.
just out of concern and stuff, that it's not like a threat or anything.
Mm.
And he's still just kind of confused, like what's going on. And it kind of gets heated, and Great's basically like, no, I need to do this. I'm going to be involved. You can't stop me. And then he's like, are you going to hurt me? You know, which is like,
Yeah.
uh,
That's this is this is again where I'm like, Corn isn't a great person, but there are moments where I'm like, oh, and
mm-hmm.
like this was another one of those. I'm like, when it comes to
Yeah.
like Tonkla, he sucks, but like he's
Yeah.
trying with great.
Yeah, and it's sad now because it's kind of Great versus the rest of his family, and then like Corn caught in the middle. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, his whole family, like, they still love Great, I guess. Like, they're very
Yeah.
loyal to their family members, but like Great is completely removed from them because of their actions and stuff. Like, he's
He suddenly has a moral compass.
yeah. Yeah, right. Oh, and just to be clear, all of this, everything that's happening, this is in the 4 minutes. Um, so everything I've mentioned, this is all 4 minute related.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. It's sad. It's also like it is kind of good for Great for getting involved, because he does have the privilege where like his family won't hurt him. Like they would hurt Nan. We saw that they would kill her, and they are looking for Time because they would hurt him. They'd probably kill him as well, but they're not gonna hurt Great. So
Yeah.
it's a good, like, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't in a lot of other like dramas that are like this, I feel like they wouldn't be so like chill when like the
Mm-hmm.
one family member like I don't know that they like would kill like other family members either, but like letting him
Mm-hmm.
just kind of run around and keep doing more damage. Um
Yeah. I think they're mostly just like, first of all, they're all like underestimating him because they've
yeah, this
never
came out of
seen
nowhere.
him. Yeah, it really did. And they all just seem very like loyal, to the
Yeah.
family. So yeah. Um, and at Great's apartment, it's now 11:03. So if you needed the reminder that this is in the 4 minutes, our 4 minutes are almost up. We're at 11:03.
Scary. I don't know what's gonna
Gary.
happen at 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that the 4 minutes thing at first was gonna be every time he goes back.
Yeah, me too.
But like he goes
I,
back twice before it goes from 11 to 11:01.
yeah, that's what I was really confused about as well. Because I was like, what's the symbolism here?
Yeah, I think it's more of like key moments more than just well, I don't know because even because the first time he goes back was with the car accident, but then
Hmm.
he goes back the second time in the hospital, and I think after that is when it goes to 11:01.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that would make sense.
so I'm not entirely sure what designates if there is like a trigger for things to go from 1 minute to the next.
See, that's something for the third rewatch.
Yeah, send a tweet over to someone to be like, can you explain this one part?
Yeah, please. Honestly, she might.
I would.
And then, so Time, he goes back home to his grandma's house, and Great's father is there, and he's eating dinner with her, and it's very tense, and it's not good. Like they found out who he was, and they found his home, and it's kind of a silent threat. And basically they have a conversation where Great's father, he basically offers hush money. And he was like, "I'll here's a fuck ton of money. Stay away from Great and stay away from my company." Um,
So
y-
stressful.
yeah. And it's mostly like, I mean, the trade-off is you get the money, you get to live, and your grandma gets to live in
Yeah.
exchange for you staying away from Great and the company. So it's not the money that Time wants, but he obviously he wants his safety and his especially his grandma's safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd have been like, "I'm gonna take the money, grandma, we're leaving right now and
I
going to the
know.
airport and leaving."
I know. I would have done the same, honestly.
Long gone.
Yeah, and of course, like, well, so after that, he does go to Nan, and she's like in the hospital still, and he's like, "You need to delete all those files. Like, we're done. We're not doing this anymore." So he seems to like have accepted. Um, and once again, it's mostly because he's been threatened, not because he's
Yeah.
taking the bribe. Like, um, and of course, obviously, she doesn't. Like, why would she, you know? And she releases the evidence. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
like,
she doesn't really have, like, what are they gonna threaten her with? 'Cause clearly
no,
she's fine with them killing her, and I don't think she's got anyone else left anymore.
she's got literally nothing to lose, you know? And if anything, like, this evidence, if they get put in jail or whatever, like, this might save her life, you know? And so, yeah, she's like, yeah, I worked so hard for this. I've done like horrible things to get this information. I'm in the hospital because I was shot and like beaten and stuff for this information. Like, obviously, she's if you tell her to delete it, she's and then like leave. She's not just gonna delete it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So, I mean, good for
Sucks for
her.
everybody, but I don't blame her.
Yeah, I don't blame her either. Um, and so yeah, that's out there. It's picking up traction. People have seen it. And the family and the company, they're kind of in some turmoil right now. So Korn
Yeah.
meets up with his what's her name? His like girlfriend, fiance person.
Versailles.
Yeah, he meets up with Fasai, and she's like, "Okay, this is how we fix it." She says, "You need to stop seeing that boy." Who's Tonkla, which is I guess I guess she knows about Tonkla. I didn't know that she knew about that, but
Yeah, that was where we learned that.
yeah. Um, she's like, "You need to stop seeing that boy. You need to marry me, and then like my family and like my father's reputation and his connections will get you out of this mess." And Korn is not having it at first. He kind of like gets up and walks away, and then she's just like, "Well, like this is your only option." And then
Hmm.
he turns around and he's like, "Okay," and like pretty much accepts the
No backbone.
offer. Yeah.
Mm.
No backbone. And, oh, this okay, here's the one scene where I was like, "What is this? Who is this?" Um, there's some scene where, like, a lady, she goes to, like, a temple, and she gives them all her money, and she's like, "This is, like, my life savings, whatever." And they give her some, like, card or something?
I have the episode pulled up. I'm trying to get to it to see what this is.
Okay. Yeah, let
Um,
me know if you understand what this is.
does she ever come back into play?
I don't think so. Like, not that I saw, you know?
Yeah,
This is the one scene where I was like, "What is this?" I have no idea who she was. If anyone knows who the lady who went to the temple is, please let me know. Because this is the one scene where I was like, I don't know how this fits into the story.
yeah.
I mean, so that happens, which who knows? I mean, this whole episode's been like chronological order pretty much, so I don't know why we would have, if it was someone in the past, why we would have gone back, but
Yeah, I feel like they would have made that a little more clear at that point.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but after that, we get great he confronts his parents. He like barges into the office or whatever, and he's basically just like, you guys are terrible people, like what you're doing is so wrong. And they're just like, "Oh, you should appreciate like." His mom specifically is like, we've done everything for you. You should appreciate it because of what we've done, you can live a comfortable life." And he's just like, "You killed people. Like, you can't be doing that."
He's so right.
He is so right. They're just it's such a terrible argument too, because it's like, yeah, he's living a comfortable life. You could also live a comfortable life and like not kill people.
Right?
Like you don't have to live this level of luxury and expense of like murdering people. Like that's crazy. And so he storms out after this, and his mom chases after him. And his mom basically is telling him that like everything I've done for you is so you can live a comfortable life and not grow up as like a mistress's child. Um and it's basically like, I think this is where we find out for sure that like she was she was the mistress, and then I mean we learn a little bit more about this later. But like she managed to get with Great's father like for real in order so he doesn't like hit, because his life could have been very different if it was just like single mom and him. And so because of that, she's just like, I've done like all of this I've done for you, like don't throw it away, just go apologize to your father, like he'll forgive you. um but
Just
he
wild.
Yeah, it is like like I see her point of view, I guess, but like I understand she probably like gave up everything for this, but it's still like so wrong.
Yeah. Honestly, from what I've seen in a lot of these shows, being like the mistress and with like the kid, you still have a lot of privilege compared to like a normal person. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if like they if the dad would have like abandoned them completely, in
yeah,
order to try to hide that relationship.
yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know if that's like kind of I assume that might be the implication. Um,
could be.
but yeah. But yeah, Great does not want to apologize. So he goes to drive off, and as he's like pulling out of the parking lot, he sees there's like a man with a gun, and he pulls up the gun and he shoots. And I wasn't sure if was he shooting at Great, or was he shooting at I think he was shooting at Great's mom.
Yeah, that's what I thought was at the mom.
Okay. Yeah, so he takes out the gun and he shoots Great's mom. And um Great goes back 4 minutes because this is still in his 4 minutes. And um this time while they're arguing, the man comes up to shoot, and Great takes the first bullet and then his mom takes the second. So they both get shot. Yeah.
What a waste of going back 4 minutes.
I
Um,
know. And I was very surprised at this part because, everything that's happened previously is he goes back 4 minutes and he fixes the thing he did wrong. But this time, just another person got shot,
yeah,
you know?
I think too much happens at once for this for him to be able to think logically. So
Mm-hmm.
like, what's the best case to like get away? Like, because they should have turned around and ran back into the building they came out of, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like
It's
watching your mom get shot, I imagine would do some mental damage immediately of panic.
Yeah, I don't know if like okay, because this doesn't happen, so they don't actually both get shot in real life. I
Yeah.
assume though that because like the first thing that happens where he drives off, and then after he drives off, his mom gets shot. I assume that's what happens, you know.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I don't know. I guess in his 4 minutes where he can go back and change things, possibly like was he just like, I don't have a way to save her, so I would rather just like die with her, like
I mean,
survivor's guilt type.
so in reality, we don't ever see her actually get shot, right?
No.
So,
But I assume that does happen,
yeah, that
considering
would
this is something he, like, regrets.
my guess, but the question is does he know?
Um,
Like, would he
that's
have
a good
known?
question. He wouldn't
Be
have known.
Yeah,
So maybe, yeah, maybe this all is just imagined.
yeah. 'Cause it
I
could
don't
be
know.
that this is just, like, his subconscious, like, coming up with, like, this is what would happen is, like, all the other people
Yeah,
that his parents have wronged would start to come out of the woodwork and get their revenge now that everything's public, right?
yeah.
Um,
No, his parents are both still alive.
okay, so, yeah, so the shooting only happens in the 4 minutes, it doesn't happen in reality.
Right, okay.
So so there is really no game plan on how to fix that one.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
interesting that it even happens.
Yeah, right. Um, yeah. I guess that's just maybe, like, the butterfly effect of this universe that's been created in his mind.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And, once this happens, we get some, like, info on, like, when people go into cardiac arrest, they have 4 minutes before their brain runs out of oxygen. And, sometimes they experience their past memories and stuff. We kinda just get the full rundown on, like, the 4-minute effect and, like, what's happening, you know?
Mhm.
Which we've kind of gotten before, but it's a little more detailed this time on, you know,
Spelled
bas
out a little more bluntly.
yeah, it's basically just explaining everything that's happening in the show.
Mhm.
And, um, basically that same time, Time's grandma, she is moved to a safer house. It's like he refers to it as, like, his aunt, so, it might be her sister or her daughter or something, I don't know, but it's a safe family member's house, and, Den, who is Time's doctor friend, he calls and he's like, "Hey, I was on my way out and I see, like, your friend being wheeled in." Like, "Great." He's like, "Your friend is being wheeled into the trauma center. There's a lot of blood. It looks really bad." Um, so yeah, that's how episode 5 ends.
Yeah, that was such a crazy ending because, like, from, like, the, like, shooting to, like, everything is very quick.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, definitely. I
And it's like
wasn't expecting the shooting to happen at all.
yeah, and I wanna say that it was part of like, it was kinda hinted at, I think, in the teaser for the episode, but still, it was one of those, like, "Okay, um, what
Mhm.
how do we get out of this now?" Because I don't know when I was watching it that I had kinda pieced together completely, like, what was happening with the 4 minutes thing. I was
Oh,
just like, "Oh,
no.
it's some sort of superpower," and I think that was kinda where it all spelled out, and I went, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, because I did think, like, oh, it was a superpower, he would go back in time, but then I was like, "Oh, but this time he actually, like, got shot and might die," like, you know?
Yeah, it was like, "We have 3 more episodes, he can't be dead yet."
Yeah,
Um,
right.
like, I was so worried that we weren't gonna have, like, a happy ending, and, maybe we don't have a happy ending, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but because Jess and Bible had just done, like a mini, like, 20-minute show or something, like, right before this came out, and it does not have a happy ending, so
Mhm.
I was like, "If they do this back to back,
Can't. Yeah.
Bible and I are gonna have some words because, like, Vegas wasn't the greatest character either. I'm like, "I need you to give me something happy, dude."
Yeah. He just lives for the drama.
Valid.
Yeah, so we start episode 6, and the pre-scene for this one is we see police raiding Tonkla's apartment, and they're, like, looking for him, but he's escaped. So that's our
Dun, dun,
little
dun.
snippet into the future. I think most of the pre-scenes are about, like, Tonkla and the murder. Seems to be
Yeah,
all of them, I
yeah,
think, except the first episode when it's Great and Time dying, but, the rest of them
yeah.
are all, like, Tonkla stuff.
Mhm.
Um And The interesting thing about this episode is that this is the real story. This is what actually has happened. So that's new for us because we have yet to learn well, at this point we didn't know what was real or not. But little did we
Yeah.
know nothing with Great was real. You know?
Yeah, which is such a mind fuck.
Yeah, when you're like 6
Like,
episodes into an 8-episode show and now you're finally getting what happened.
yeah, it's one of those, and like having to piece together that like all the Tonkless scenes are real, and then depending on whether or not Great is around Corn is whether or not those scenes are real, and then like sometimes like the stuff with like Den, like the other doctor, is real, and sometimes it's not, and like very confusing.
Yeah, especially because we basically like well while watching the show, even though we didn't know exactly what was happening with the 4 minute, we knew that Tonkla's life, like and what happens with him, completely contradicts what was happening with Great. And
Yes.
so we knew the two of them couldn't like exist simultaneously because in Great's story, Tonkla's brother didn't die, but in Tonkla's story, his brother did die. And so we were like, okay, we know one of these is wrong, or maybe there's like two timelines happening, like multiverse type shit. Like we were like, I don't know what's happening, but like these cannot be happening together.
Yeah, what really threw me is the one scene where Dome is leaving the hospital and he's in like the taxi heading back to Tonkla, and then it
Mm-hmm.
like fades out, but like it's almost like Tonkla like heard him before, like because he was outside like
Mm-hmm.
watering plants or something. It was like because he
Yeah.
like turns and like looks, but like Dome's not actually there, and I was like, okay, is this like the multiverse like bleeding into each other?
I know. Marvel's
Like,
like ruined all of us. So we kind of speed run like everything you've watched previously, but they clear up like what is real.
hmm
Um And so we start, of course, with the hit and run, in which he hit and runs the lady for real this time. Um,
Come on, great.
yeah, Great is a much less likable person in the real story, to be
Yeah, which is so
honest.
upsetting.
It is. I kind of find myself not able to root for him as much and like,
Yeah.
but and which makes sense because in his mind it's kind of his idealized version of himself, but yeah. We see him do
The
some really
redemption arc.
heinous things here. Um, and also, Time and his girlfriend are talking outside the hospital on like the balcony, and she's basically just like, you're a bad boyfriend, like you don't care about me, whatever, and they break up. Um, yeah.
Time
Time
having a
is
girlfriend was
also,
such a plot twist.
I know. It's literally like, I mean, I get why she broke up with him because it's just like so on the back burner, you know?
Mhm.
And I think she mentions too, she's like, we've been together for 2 years. And like, I'm like, that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Great is, he's okay. We get that dinner scene again where he comes back after the hit and run and he sits as far as possible, like down that long ass table. And
So
very,
funny.
yeah, I know. Very similarly to the first time it happens, they scold him for being careless, but this time because he actually killed a person, um, they're like, scolding him for killing a person, and they're like, you should thank your father. He's the one who bribed the police, and he just like laughs at them, and they're just like, dude, this is serious. Like they're angry and stuff because they're like, you would have been in so much trouble if it wasn't for our connections. Um, and yeah, Grace's just like kind of flippant about it, you know?
I still say it because I think I said this when we were recording in the last part. She like walked in front of him, right? So like if
Yeah.
he hadn't have left, like it would have been a PR nightmare, but like, it really wasn't his fault. She was
No.
in like a blind spot.
Yeah, I mean, and like she did it on purpose and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it in those situations, like it's, you can't blame the driver really. But it's the fact that he left.
Yeah, no, that he should have done that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, which obviously he regrets, so that's good, at
Mhm.
least he recognizes that, but yeah. Um, and, we we're kinda speed running some of these events, and so now, the clock says it's 10:43, so just to show that we're not in the 4 minutes, it's a real time. Um, we get the part where Title is picking up Great in his car because he has, what's the Dome? He has
Dome,
Dome
yeah.
in the trunk, and the whole situation happens where Dome ends up climbing out of the trunk, and Title smashes his head with a rock. Um, that really did happen, and now we know Dome for real is dead. Especially because he convinces Great to help him dump the body into the water.
Just so messed up.
It is. It's so sad. This is like out of all the things that you go back and like you're figuring out what's really happened and what didn't. This was like the hardest to accept, I feel, cuz it's like okay, now we have confirmation that like Dome is for sure murdered.
Y For being a character that basically the, like, main point is that he just dies, right? Like, that's, like, the
Yeah.
core like, he plays a pretty important role in this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, he's the cause for a lot of the people who die in the future, you know? Or he's the catalyst, not the cause.
Yeah.
Um, Also notable, this has been recorded. Um, the title, like, picks up I was kinda just skipping through this too, because again, it's a hard scene to watch. Um, I don't remember if it was Title who was recording it or if it was a camera that was set up or something. But,
I
either
think
way.
it's the dash cam in his car.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he knows it's there, and after this happens, he goes back to the camera, takes out the memory card, and, like, chucks it.
Yeah, so
So,
it's just the dash cam in his car.
okay, that makes sense, yeah. Um, so Great, has now killed 2 people. That's so fun. Love that for him. Um, but at least his cat is cute. He goes back home. I love his cat.
We love Akira.
Yeah, we do. And it's another time that isn't 11 whatever, so we know it's not in the 4 minutes still. And then we get the scene of how Great and Time actually meet, sorta. So, um, Great is going to the hospital. He's picking up medicine, like sleeping meds. I after this these instances have kinda messed him up a bit. He's not been able to sleep, so he's getting some, like, sleeping meds from the hospital.
Some
Um
humanity there.
Yeah, right? It's like, at least it's, like, something. And, he's like, "Yeah, prescription for," and he says his, like, full name, and Time overhears this, and, of course, he recognizes this name because it's, like, his enemy's son. So, he's like,
So
"Oh."
dramatic.
It's so dramatic. Time is honestly way more dramatic in real life. Like, in the 4 minutes, he's, like, kinda chill, but in real life, he's, like, kind of insane.
Yeah, they both are a little
They
more insane.
they are definitely.
Like
Um,
like, in the 4 minutes, Great has some, like, rose-colored glasses on a lot of stuff.
oh, yeah, it's very, like, sanitized in a way.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Um, and so Time hears this, and he's immediately in, like, stalker mode. Um, he's like, "This is my in." So he follows Great to a bar pretty much, and Great's drinking, and, like, Time, like, comes in, and he talks to him so creepily. Like, literally his intro is so, like, when So at the hospital, they like briefly bump into each other, like barely at all, and they don't even really like say anything. Like, um, it's just like I wouldn't even remember it if it were me. But like at the bar, Time walks up to him and he says something like, "Oh, like you should watch where you're going. I'm the doctor you ran into today." And Grace just like, "Are you following me?" And Time's like, "No, I was planning to come here anyway." Like, oh my god. It's a tough scene to watch. Time is like desperate.
Flirting, not his forte.
Not
Um,
at all. He comes in like so hot, and by hot I mean just like so aggressively weird, but it ends up working. So I can't diss
I
him that much.
I feel like Great's bar is pretty low for what he'd be interested in.
Yeah. Plus,
Are you
I'm a
attractive?
yes, very. Okay, good enough. There is like one part though where Time's like, "Oh, you come here a lot?" And Grace's like, "Yeah." And then Time's like, "What's good here?" And Grace just like, "Liquor."
So real.
Yeah.
And then he just like slides his drink over and is like, "Here, try this," basically.
Mhm. It's like straight whiskey, but yeah. Hey, it works. Um,
Yep.
they go back to Great's apartment and they start to hook up on the pool table, and this scene is crazy. It's fucking insane, dude.
This is the scene everyone's been waiting for though, because it's like we I think already in like the teasers they had like the pool table thing and then like the flashes of like reality that Great was having in his four
Oh
minutes.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
because like that's when he first runs into time in his 4 minutes where he has those flashes and he has his gay panic.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yep.
it was about time we got this episode
Mhm.
or this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nuts. And then like so, they get off the pool table and Great goes to the bathroom, and while he's doing this, Time sets up a recording device. Um, and then he opens a drawer and there's like 9 different boxes of Durex, like condoms and lube, like it's so much.
So funny.
It is. I love the sponsorship still.
Yeah, it's great.
And then they end up having sex, and it's recorded, but in a way where you can only see like Great's face in the recording. So, and then later, Time, he's got the clip on a USB and he's debating to post it or not. But then he thinks about his parents and then he like go and like uploads it. It looks like Pornhub, I guess. I
Yeah, it's a pun for Pornhub or like
I-
a fake version of Pornhub.
yeah,
It's really funny.
it is funny. And it's also funny how like I guess people find it and watch it right away and identify Great. Like,
Yeah, he's some I guess he's a celebrity because his dad's rich. Um
yeah. But like it's just like an anonymous video on like Pornhub. Like, how are you putting this together so fast?
yeah, I'm guessing maybe like after he posted it, like maybe Time like put it out there that it exists or something.
Yeah, maybe. Cuz I think it was titled like Hidden Cam or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. But it does seem to spread and people watch it and connect it with his parents' company and their reputation. And this is so funny. In Great's dad's office, Great goes in there and his dad yells at him and throws at him like a stack of like screenshots from the video. Uh, like, why did you print them out?
Yeah. It's weird. But I love how unbothered Great is.
Oh, he is. He's yelling at Great. Great doesn't give a fuck. He's just
No.
like, haha, like So what? He's just like, oh yeah, Ham. I don't even remember who that was. Like, truly a menace, but I respect it here.
Yeah, I can't imagine being that unbothered.
Oh, me neither. I thought he would have been way more mad about it, but he's like into it, so I guess it worked out for the best. Um, Great likes him a little crazy, so
Apparently.
yeah. And so yeah, once this is posted, this is when he sends his grandma to his aunt's house to be safe because he knows he's going to be tracked down for this, and he does somehow. I literally don't know how they tracked him down. But Great's dad finds time and has him in this weird, creepy office. It's very alien looking. And
Um, my guess is it's not that hard to figure out who posted it with like IP addresses and stuff like that. And then
okay.
also, if they know where Great normally goes to drink, there's gonna be cameras.
Oh,
Like there's plenty of
yeah.
ways for them to have figured it out. Like
That
time did not put a whole lot of effort into like hiding himself.
no. Okay, yeah, that's definitely probably what they did then. But this is when the hush money comes in for real this time, and um, they once again offer it to him, and Time says he's not going to accept it until they admit that they killed his parents and they quit their business, which is just bad negotiating. Like,
Like, is it even hush money then?
no, he, like what did he expect to come from this? He's gonna be like, oh, you should quit your business. They're just gonna be like, yeah, okay. But it's more, I guess it's more of like a warning. Like he's warning them than
Yeah.
than it is like him expecting them to
Yeah,
go for this.
I don't think there's any thought that they would actually go for it.
No. But he's basically just like, no, I'm not accepting this. And the dad is like, well, actually the people who started this gambling business, they were your parents. Like
Dun
like
dun
your
dun.
parent. Yeah, crazy. So, yeah, he's like, your parents were the ones started this. And then he kind of, brings up his grandma, and you can tell it's kind of it's implied that that's a threat on his family. So that did not quite go the way Time would have liked.
Again, it's one of those where I'm like, what did you expect? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that hard to find people if you have money,
Yeah.
especially if you don't have the money to like cover your tracks.
Yeah. I mean, he's still planning, I guess, to use the info from Nan, but like, I don't even know what was the point of posting. I mean, I guess the point of posting the clip with Great was to like to worsen the reputation of the company.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I guess that could have been a plan in itself. But now
Yeah.
he's completely exposed, and like, yeah, it's gonna be harder for him to do the other stuff.
Yeah, he's on their radar now as a
Mm.
problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the thought process there, but he might just be kind of being, I think it was pretty impulsive.
Yeah,
Like
I
he
think
didn't expect to run
emotional.
in. Yeah, he wasn't expecting to run into Great, and then he just kind of took that opportunity to do what he could.
Yeah.
Um,
Hope it was worth it.
mhm. And I mean, it seems to turn out okay then, because well, Great shows up at the hospital, and he, it seems at first he's like, you can't really tell how he's feeling, if he's mad or not, or like what's going on, and he's like, oh, just like come get dinner with me, and they like go get dinner, and Time's still kind of like on eggshells because he's just like, I don't know, like what is this guy gonna do, whatever. And they order some food, and Great just has like the worst taste in food. Like he's just like, I can't eat no spice, no garlic, like no whatever. And I'm like, no garlic?
Yeah. So maybe he's a vampire.
Yeah, right. Honestly, oh my God, Bible as a vampire would be so good.
Hey, Bible, if you're listening,
Ring ring. You would
can,
make such a good vampire.
right? I'd be so here for it.
I would too.
I feel like I say that about everybody we talk.
I know. But I
Like,
think Bible particularly, I could he looks like he would suit vampire.
yeah. How do we get
Uh,
him on revamped with Boone and
oh,
Prum? Because I
yes,
feel like he
please.
fits that vibe.
Yeah. That would be really good. Maybe we'll see. Maybe if we're lucky. If we're very, very lucky. Um, and yeah, so they get dinner and it turns out that Great is actually impressed with Time's plan and he's like not mad at all.
So funny.
That's such like that's like the weirdest reaction ever to someone like using you to sleep with you and to record you secretly and post it for all the public to see and you're not even gonna be mad. He's just like, that was a good one. Like, you got my dad good that time.
My favorite was, why didn't you post it on, like, whatever the equivalent of, like, OnlyFans was, and make money off of it?
Yeah. I guess, like, less people would have watched it that if it was paywalled or something, but
I don't think making money off of it was on Time's radar, but Crate was like, "Huh,
no.
you should have done that."
Yeah, right? Like, come on, like, you weren't thinking, right?
Crate is so
He is. I it's fun now because we can actually see kind of their real personalities, you know?
Yeah. I actually think I like this Crate better than, like, the 4 Minutes Crate.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely a worse person, but he's definitely, like, more interesting, you
Yes.
know? So I'm here for it as well. I mean, Time too. Time's also a worse person, but, like,
Yeah.
more interesting. Okay, and so we go so that's how they kinda meet, but, they're, like Great really likes him and it's kinda like, they're walking home and stuff, and he keeps trying to he's like, "Oh, like, should we hook up again?" Like, whatever, and you can tell Time likes him, but Time's just like, We should not see each other anymore," like, especially because his Great's dad was like, "Don't see Great anymore, I'll kill your grandma," essentially, and
Yeah.
so Time's just like he's like, "We cannot see each other anymore, like, this is done."
Yeah. I think Time also has, maybe a little bit of guilt because I think Great's reaction to everything also throws him off.
Yeah, I don't think he
'Cause
expected Great to be, like, on his side.
yeah, because it's when they're eating and Great's like, "Oh, yeah, that was great." And Time's just kinda like, What?"
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's
I
there's definite concern there. Um,
Yeah. 'Cause they didn't know each other at all before this, so he didn't know, like I think he just assumed, like, "Oh, great, it's a part of that family, so he's
oh,
gonna
yeah,
be the same as them."
naughty rich kid and
Yeah.
happy with the life of crime because rich.
Yeah. And so we kinda skip ahead then, and now it's time for, um, the part where Great and Corn are in a bar, and then Corn gets held by by knife point by someone, and, of course, it's Time. Pretty much the same scene as the 4 minute. And, like, Time this is, like, later, but Time does the thing where he asks about Nan. Of course, Great doesn't know who that is, because in the 4 minutes, he, like, uses his power to, like, go back in time, and then he knows who Nan is, whatever, but he doesn't know who Nan is, and Time gets upset and, like, storms off. And Great, this, like, piques his interest because he's like, "I genuinely, like, don't know who Nan is, like, what's going on?" Like, there's a girl named Nan who's missing, who's tied to my family somehow. And he like ends up following the like manager guy to Nan's location. And once he gets the location, he just like texts it to Time. Um, and this is when he like walks in to see Nan get shot.
Poor
Um,
Nan.
I know. This is another one where I'm like, no, like she actually dies. Like, fuck, that's so sad.
Hmm.
But I really don't think Great could have done anything in the situation. Like, it was very sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any helping her,
No.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very sad. And Great kind of slinks away before anyone can see him. And Time shows up. Time is much more impulsive in the real world. And he tries to like 5v1 the freaking like mafia guys. And of course he loses. And they're getting ready to shoot him. And this is when when Great intervenes. And he gets them to not kill Time, and he gets away with Time. Not with Nan this time, unfortunately, but he does keep Time alive, which
Thank God.
yeah, Time's really not doing himself any favors by trying to fight like five guys at once.
No.
Mm-mm.
The emotion's getting the best of him.
Yeah. And they like drive away, and Time is like, he's obviously very upset about the situation. He's yells at Great for not stopping them from not stopping for like them from killing Nan, which once again I don't think Great could have done, but Time is upset and it's a horrible situation, so it's understandable, but this is obviously a very different end than Great's 4 Minutes, where he saves Nan, he saves the day, and like they go to like a pretty location and like have sex and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
quite a contrast.
Yeah, things aren't quite so hunky dory.
Yeah. Um, and so the evidence about the company does get exposed. I believe Time gets the evidence from Nan anyway or something, and he's the one to expose it. And the the department, they like shred all their files, like it's pretty much chaos. Um, and the manager tells Korn that Great intervened in the situation. And then once again, it leads to the fight where Great and his parents, and the one where he runs away. And this time he drives away from the fight, and no one gets shot. But when he reaches his apartment elevator, he goes in. A guy shows up. He's in a black hoodie, and he shoots Great. And the guy is Tonkla, of course. But
So
this
messy.
yeah, but this is what starts the 4 minutes. So this from like now, like till from basically everything we watch of Great before now, this is like when it starts.
Yeah, so this would basically be the scene right before the very first scene in episode 1 where Great's in the hospital with the CPR.
Yeah. This is like how he actually ended up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
very
so
interesting.
and since it's in the elevator, that is why he had the weird like heart thing in the elevator in the first episode, but then he doesn't have it
Yeah.
in the hospital. He's like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah, I wonder why.
So I was just thinking about something though. So all in the 4 minutes, right? We've been talking about how Great and Horn have like a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
Do we see that in the real world?
Um,
I don't remember that. I was
hmm,
just thinking about it. I'm like everything we see that I can remember was in the 4 minutes and with Great and his rose-colored glasses and all of this. Um,
that's interesting. I'm not completely sure. I know we just don't like see like during the actual things that happen, we don't see Corn at all, really.
Yeah, because like,
So,
the only time in the real world that they're together is at that one stupid family dinner. Um,
yeah, that's so true. Yeah,
and
this
then I
could be
guess
another result of, like, an unreliable narrator, like, if we're
yeah,
seeing his relationship with Korn through the narrator, it could be false.
yeah, because they are together too, though, when Time attacks Horn with knife point looking for Nando, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess yeah, they
So
do
so
seem to
maybe
hang out at least.
okay,
Um,
so maybe they are still at least kind of close, even though maybe
yeah,
it's from how this has gone, maybe it's a little exaggerated in the 4 minutes, but
yeah.
I
It
was just thinking about that where I
definitely
was like, "Mm."
yeah, definitely, like, great, like, values his brother. Um,
Yeah.
we'll see, like, later on a little more, but yeah, that's a good question, I wonder how that changes,
Hmm.
from real life.
So, well, it's gonna be a whole lot more messy now that, Corn's boyfriend has shot Corn's brother. Um,
Yeah, right? Oh my
that's
god.
that's a problem.
That is such a problem. Ah, the drama. Okay, let's get into it. This is the Tonkla episode. So, okay.
Hate this scene.
Episode yeah, episode 7, there is no, like, scene that happens in the future, but we do get what happens in the past. So, Tonkla is living with his brother and his dad in the past. This is, like, high school. And his dad is, like, an alcoholic, he's violent, he kills Tonkla's cat.
It's so upsetting.
So awful. Oh my god, I would that's personally when I would kill someone, but, um
Well, um,
and yeah, so Tonkla, I mean, he after this happens, his dad falls down the stairs, in quotations, and it's pretty obvious that Tonkla pushed him. His brother is like, "Oh my god, like, what happened, Dad?" And Tonkla's like, "He got drunk and he fell." Um, he's dead now, so that's maybe for the best, but,
yeah,
um, yeah,
I
Tonkla's kinda got some sus vibes,
yeah, it's I don't blame Pogba for being mad, but he was a little like it was a little too easy for him to do that. Um,
Yeah, it didn't seem like it, but he was, I don't know, successful. And then, the SIM card has been found of the dashcam footage of Tidal and Great tossing Dome's body into the water. It's found, and brought to the police. It's found by some, like, fishermen who live out there, and, they bring it to the police, and the police they watch it, they realize it's Tidal, and who is the police chief's son, and they break the memory card, and then they threaten the fisherman who found it, and they're like, "Do not tell anyone ever that you found this, and don't talk about it." Um, so that's
so
not
frustrating.
good. Yeah, if your police chief is like, "Hey, delete this evidence," like, that's never good.
Nope.
And, Win, who is the cop that we know, he asks another officer about, like, the DNA results, um, that of, what was on the rock and stuff, and even though he's been taken off the case, he's still interested in this, and one of his officer friends tells him, that the fingerprints, they match Title, who is the police chief's son, and so because of this, they are being pressured to change the results of the DNA test. And Win does some more digging, and he goes to watch the, like, CCTV footage of Title initially knocking out Dome, like, at their apartments or whatever, and, like, before he stuffs him into the trunk of the car, and, initially, that clip was deleted, and he notices that there's kind of a skip in time where it had been edited, and he like asks the guy, he's like, "Where's the original clip?" Like, and the guy shows him, and so that's when he sees Title knocking out Dome, and then Title just like looks at the camera and is like grinning like a maniac. It's so scary.
It is. It's so messed up.
I'm so scared of Title, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then Win calls Tonkla and he is like, "Hey, Title is the killer. It's his DNA. And I saw him knock out your brother that night." And Tonkla's like, "Well, can't we just issue a warrant? Like, you have this evidence." And Win is like, "No, we can't because of the whole police chief thing." And so Win is like, "We're going to use social media to expose this. I already have a meeting with a journalist. We're going to go through, once again, like the social pressure route."
Interesting to me that that's the like effective way.
I know. Like, yeah, I guess when the police chief is corrupt when it comes to his son, like, you know, I
Yeah,
guess
what
it
else
makes
can you do,
sense.
right?
Yeah, like what other avenues? And then we have this like see this little clip of Tonkla. He's like his like dead cat is like sitting in the hallway, but it's like alive and it like meows at him. It's like he's just like hallucinating or something, and I couldn't tell if this was supposed to be like him on drugs or like what.
I think it's just him unhinged at this point.
I think so.
Like I don't like drugs are probably a factor in that, but I don't think it's like the only factor. I think he's literally just lost it.
I
Um,
know. I just don't know why they keep making the drugs a thing. Like every time we see Tongla, he's like smoking something. So
something both of us are too inexperienced to recognize.
hey, maybe it's for the best.
Most likely. Based on the
I'm
outcome of this
honestly,
story.
as far as it goes for like BL shows, like to you would want to like join the universe to live in, this is like dead last for me.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
never ever want to be in a part of any of this.
Yeah. I don't really want to be in this, but I think I would take this over like Playboy.
Oh my god. You might be right.
I think I would still take this over Playboy.
Okay.
Depending
That's
on
fair
like
enough.
it also depends on what kind of role I would play in this, right? Um,
Yeah.
because like as a female, right? Like, um,
You get to be
if
Nan.
I don't want to be Nan,
I
um,
know.
but I also like I don't want to be View, like Title's girlfriend.
Mm,
Um, I'm surprised Maud got out unscathed. Um,
yeah. I'll be what's his
can
name?
I just be a random
Times.
classmate?
Yeah. I'll be Times' ex-girlfriend that he treated poorly, but hey, at least she's like a doctor and
Yeah, which
alive.
which she was mentioned in the 4 minutes thing too. I
Yeah.
remembered. I forgot about that because it
Yeah.
was she was already gone out of the picture at that point.
Uh-huh.
Great
Yeah.
subconscious just went, nah, she's not relevant.
No, he does. Yeah. Time in his 4 minutes will bring her up again. But that's like all
Mhm.
we see her really. Oh, smiling. Okay. Because he's a freak. Oh, and then we tell the killer. Cat. Okay, we're at hallucinations of the dead cat. So, Win. Oh my god, Win pisses me off. I'm gonna be so for real. He's so stupid. He sets up the meeting with the journalist. He goes to see the journalist. What do you know? It's a setup. Um,
Shocking.
yeah. It's the police chief's like m- men, but his like illegal men, and he gets shot at. It's a whole thing where it's like a shootout and they steal the USB with the footage. And like an absolute dumbass, he didn't back it up. That's like, isn't that rule number one?
Yes.
Literally, before you do anything else, if you get, I don't know, evidence of a murder, back it up.
Yeah. And you never give the original. You always give the backup.
Yes. Like the fisherman knew this. Because like, okay, first of all, Tonkla, he's mad as fuck that he didn't back it up because now their evidence is gone and so valid. And so Tonkla's
Yeah.
like, I gotta go. He's like, this guy is freaking useless. I gotta go do this myself. And he goes out like on foot to where his brother was dumped and he's talking to people and he meets the fishermen. He talks to them and he's like, did you guys hear about the murder? And they're like, yeah, we heard about it. And he was like, oh, like the guy that was murdered is my brother. Like I really, if you guys have any information, please let me know. And the fisherman freaking backed up their video. Um, because that's what you're
Fishman
supposed to
smarter than a
do.
cop.
Literally. Oh my god. And but they have like the actual footage of Great, well, Title and Great dumping Dome's body. So they have the evidence that there were two people involved in this murder. Like there's one murder, but there was an accomplice with it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that just when oh my god, when stupid wind and back of the video, I was just like, okay, I lost all respect for you now.
I mean, I didn't have a lot to begin with, even like in
No.
the other scenes, because he was just kind of following Tonkla around like a puppy.
He really does. He has this like first of all, he has the saddest mustache I've ever seen. And I hope I don't offend the man. I'm not trying to, but it just didn't suit him. I just didn't like it.
He still has facial hair.
Does he? Does it look
I think so.
better? Oh. If it just wasn't so like uh, patch patchy, you know, or like sparse.
Sorry, JJ. I'm also not a fan of the facial hair, I will say.
Does,
I won't leave you alone on this one.
I'm sorry, JJ. I'm
I'm not a
sure you're
big facial hair
wonderful.
person anyway. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it depends for me, but I just like a sparse little mustache and goatee and then something like, no.
yeah, that's having watched Tale of a Thousand Stars recently for the like 10 seconds that Earth has facial hair.
Oh my god. I know. It's
I
like,
just
jeez.
I wish these men would not do this.
I know. And yeah, I'll be real, I couldn't take Win as seriously as a character because of it.
I wonder if they did that to make him look like older.
I think so.
Um, 'Cause I think he's early 20s. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he might be like mid like 24 or something. But
Yeah. Yeah, he's 24. He's born in 2000.
okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's why they did it, but it just like it's
Yeah.
not my cup of tea.
Yeah, because his MDL photo he's clean shaven here and he definitely looks a lot younger.
So, because back to Great for a minute, um his parents are fleeing the country because all of the information that was released about the gambling den is really bad and very illegal and they're facing a lot of backlash from it. So, the parents are running. Um they instruct Korn to find a stash of money, to destroy the phone with the contacts on it, to find Great, and then leave the country as well. So that's kind of their game plan. Um, and also the girl who experienced the 4 minutes. Do you remember her name?
Yeah, it's yeah, Lukwa, Lukwa.
Yeah. So look what she's once again talking to Den, the doctor guy, and she was like, "Oh, the what got me out of the 4 minutes was I heard my boyfriend's voice. Like that's what broke her out." So I guess that'll be useful for later. Um, and Time visits Great in the hospital because uh, Great was shot. From what we remember, this is kind of going out of order slightly. But
Yeah. Well,
but
it's It's like we backtracked a little bit from the last episode.
Yeah.
Is kind of what happened. 'Cause we
Yeah,
fill in the gaps of why Tonkla went after Great.
it's true,
So
yeah.
so I think
Um,
at this point maybe now we've caught up.
yeah, we pretty much caught up. They just that they kinda they don't show the things that Tonkla does really, but yeah, we've kinda caught back up now. And so Time is visiting Great because Great's in the hospital and it's after surgery, he's unconscious from being shot and in bad shape. And Time just like wants to make amends with Great when he gets better and he's like, "Can you forgive me?" Stuff like that, which is like what Great that like manifests in Great's 4 minutes at one point on like a drink or something like that, which is cool. It's a fun
Mhm.
detail. But then Time goes home and his house has been ransacked. He FaceTimes his grandma because she's been at the aunt's house and she just like gets whacked on camera. Like this is so insane. He FaceTimes her and she's like, "Hi honey, whatever." And then she just absolutely gets murdered like on screen.
Yeah, that
Um
was so upsetting.
I know. Like what timing? Um but that's really sad. Grandma is dead because this is the real world. And then the guy talks to him and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell you like I did with your grandma and like I did with your parents." And then Time gets shot. So him and Great getting shot in the same night for different reasons. It's a pretty
Yes.
bad night.
So, but this kind of explains the pre-opening credits scene in the first episode though.
Yes. Yeah, this is exactly like where that left off pretty much.
Mhm.
Cuz cuz Time gets shot, but then he like
He stumbles
uh
around for a little bit.
yeah, he like stumbles to like the barn area or whatever, and then
Yeah.
that's where he's like I don't know if he gets shot again or something, or he lays. I don't remember. He might get shot twice, to be honest.
I think he does. 'Cause he's
Yeah,
trying to run away and then he like stumbles and then yeah.
yeah. And we get this kind of like flashback where we see Great's mom, and she's currently the mistress, and we see how she becomes the next wife because the dad at the time he's like, yeah, my company like is not doing well, like I'm in trouble, whatever. Clearly him and his current wife, who's probably Corn's mom, are not doing so hot. And Great's mom is like, oh, like I'll help you, like I will introduce you to these new investors, like we're gonna do this together, we're gonna get the company out of trouble. Which is kind of how she made her way to that position. And then the investors she knew that she introduced them to, they have a son, and that son is Time. So it's Time's parents. And of course, Great and Time, they like hang out as kids.
Because of course.
Of course. It's like not important at all either, but because it's like an Asian drama, this is just like it has to happen. So that's like, still back in time, whatever. But then after a while, the gambling dens are being investigated. And so that like I'll just call him like the hitman guy. I don't really know his name or if he has the relation to the rest of the show. But he is like, I'm gonna kill Time's parents so it doesn't lead back to our family. And Great's dad was like, no, like please don't kill them, don't hurt them. But I guess what he said doesn't matter because that guy just kills them anyway. So he's not
Yeah.
really a hitman. He like has a lot of agency. I don't
That
know.
wasn't Fasai's dad, is it?
He that's what I was wondering. I was like, that was the one thing where I was like, maybe that's like her dad.
I I think it is.
Okay.
So at least that's the one who calls for the hit. Yeah.
Okay. All connected there, I guess.
Mhm.
Um So yeah, he is the one who killed Time's parents. And Time starts his 4 minutes, and the first thing he does is he finds his mom's journal. And that episode ends. Do do do.
So stressed because we didn't get anywhere great because he got shot in the end of episode 6, right?
Yep.
So we're in limbo with him, and now
Uh-huh.
Time is shot.
Yep.
One episode left, and it's like this is really not looking like it's gonna have a happy ending.
I know. No, it was I'm so happy I like watched the last episode 7 and 8 together like once the last one came out instead of having to wait a
Yes,
week.
agreed.
Mhm. And we go to last episode and it starts with Time's 4 minutes. It's very pure and innocent and like beautiful. Um it's so different than his real life, but he it starts and he's asked to be a surgical professor at his hospital, so he's getting like a promotion essentially. And we have that scene again where him and his girlfriend break up, but this time it's a lot more amicable. He like actually like apologizes to her and like explains himself, and like because of that she's like, "Yeah, I get it. Like I'll still, I'm still happy to like help your grandma with her diabetes and stuff like that." And it's just like it's very different than happened in real life where time just kind of says nothing and.
Mhm.
And then his way of meeting Great is that just like Great comes in one day and like requests an appointment with Time, just like as a doctor. And they like kind of hit it off and Great asks him out that evening. So they go on like a nice date. And then we like get like a really like cute montage of their relationship progressing just very happily. It's very domestic and
God, I
yeah.
wish.
I know. It's so cute. They're, like, working out together and, like, kissing
Oh my god.
underwater and, like, cuddling in bed and stuff.
The workout scene where they're both doing the lifts.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. It's yeah, it's so happy and so, like, you know, it's like what it could have been, if
Mhm.
all this other stuff wasn't happening. And then, Great actually hears Den's voice, and he kind of gets up out of bed and he Den is like urging him to like break out of it before the 4 minutes are up and stuff. And this is because in real life Den is performing like CPR on him like in the field where he was shot. So that's kind of the the outside world bleeding into his 4 minutes.
Mhm. I like that in the last episode we learned that like the girl got out, like Laqua got out because she heard like her boyfriend like calling for her or something like that, right? So it was like her loved one. And my first thought was how do Great and Time get out of it when they're both in it? They can't call each other out. But
Yeah,
then it's Den, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cute."
that is cute. It's also interesting too, because at this point in real life, when they both get shot, like they're just so down bad for each other, but they barely know each other.
Yeah.
Like they hooked up one time, and it was when it
This
was
is
being
some
recorded.
yeah, some revenge porn. Um
Yeah, literally. And like, the only like quality time they had together was like the meal after, and then after that, like, he did help with like Nan, but they never were
Yeah. They
happy.
didn't
Like,
have the tent scene or
yeah, it was just like angry and sad. And so, yeah, to be like they actually in real life don't know each other that well, but both of them are just imagining this whole world where they just could have been like happy together. Like
Yeah.
they're just both very down bad. So,
Yeah, it's an immediate love. It's unrealistic but super cute.
yeah, exactly. And in real life, so Fasai is like, actually, I can't help you anymore because like your company, it's too far gone. Like we can't do it. And then she kicks him out. So that was kind of Korn's backup plan, I think. So
Mhm.
he doesn't have that anymore. So he goes to find the cash that's been hidden. He does that. Okay. Now the police know that Tonka went to get revenge on Title and Great. Because there's been another murder, the same place,
Yeah.
the same way. Title was the one who died. Um, and also now Great has been shot, and so they kind of put together that it was revenge, and they start to go after Tonkla. So that's kind of when you get some of the scenes where we've seen previously where like they go to raid his house, but he's escaped and stuff like that. Like that's how that ties in.
Mhm.
And
Oh, Tonkla.
Corn, what was that?
I said, "Oh, Tonkla."
Oh, Tonkla. Yeah, he's here for a good time, not a long time.
I don't even think he's here for a good time.
Not even. It's just like pure revenge, you know.
Hey.
Um, and so Korn, he ends up calling Tonkla, and then he sees he's like wanted for murder. And I guess like Korn at this point, he's like, yeah, I got nothing else to lose. So, um, Tonkla sends back like a picture of his cat's collar. So they meet there where like the cat was buried. And Korn like apologizes for not being there when Dome died, but he's like, I'll make it up to you now. Like I'm gonna help you escape. We're gonna escape together.
Important that Corn doesn't know that Tonkla has gone after Great.
No, he does not know that at all. He only knows about Title,
Mhm.
and Korn's life is kind of falling apart too. So he's just like,
Yeah.
fuck
I feel really
it.
bad for Corn right now.
Yeah, I know. And eventually, like, the police, they're trying to track him down. They get CCTV footage of Tonkla in, like, um, convenience store, and Korn is with him and helping him. So now they know that Korn is involved. So they chase them. They find their, like, hotel or whatever where they're staying, or, like, maybe it's Korn's apartment. I'm not sure. But they close in, and the pair are running, and they get into under a bridge. And Win steps out in front of them and points the gun at them, and he tells Tonkla to surrender. And
This is so messy.
this is so messy. I love it. Tonkla basically tells Win that he's bad at his job.
Which,
Like,
yes.
it's true. Win's just like, oh, like it's not easy. And Tonkla's like, it is easy. I did it. I went and I solved the murder myself, and you couldn't even do it, you know?
Yeah.
So like fair enough. And then he mentions that there were two people that he killed or shot or whatever. And Korn was like, "Wait, two? Who was the other one?" And he finds out it was Great.
This is
Ah.
so stressful.
Yeah, Tonga like tells him, he's like, "Yeah, the other person was your brother Great. Also, I cheated on you."
At least he owned up to it all at once. Like, rip the Band-Aid off, I guess.
Honestly, it's so it's so insane. It's just like, imagine like, oh yeah, I killed your brother. P.S. I cheated on you too. Like, okay, like you couldn't do anything else worse to me now.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like Corn isn't I don't know that he's processing anything very well at this moment, I guess. Um,
No, I mean, they're on the run. They have a cop like pointing a gun at them. He's finding out his brother was shot by his boyfriend, and then his boyfriend cheated on him with the cop that
it's
is pointing
currently
a gun at them.
yeah.
Oh, what a fucking mess. Oh my god.
This is probably one of my favorite scenes of the show because it is so insane, but the
Me
fact that this is
too.
one of the real scenes.
I know. Yeah, I agree. This is also one of my favorites. And then in more dramatic fashion, Korn pulls out his gun, and with that sudden movement, Win shoots, but because he's shit at his job, he shoots Tonkla.
I
They'll
don't know
fire
that it
this
would
guy.
be because he's shit at his job, because Tonkless steps in front of the bullet.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Yeah,
I
because he
missed
goes
that.
he goes to stop Corn from grabbing his gun and like steps in
Mm,
front of him and like
okay. I was just like, how did you like what? Like you're gonna miss that bad?
yeah, no, I will defend Win here.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. I
Yeah,
was like,
that
there's no way Win can get even worse. And yeah, very sad. Tonkla, he gets shot. He's dying. Korn, just poor guy. He just went through so much. She shoots himself. He's like, get me out of here.
Yeah,
Um,
it's one of those I think if he could have gotten Tonkla out of there, I think he'd have forgiven him for everything.
yeah,
I
probably.
I think he would have forgiven him for Great, even if like Great dies in all this. Like I think he'd have been like, It's fine. I forgive
Honestly,
you." Um,
I mean, at that point, he's like kind of committed. You know,
yeah,
it's like I've given up everything for this. So yeah, well, they do have like collective like 4 minutes together where they're basically just like laying in bed and they're deciding to run away together.
the
Um,
scene was so cute and heartbreaking.
I know. Yeah, they're just like, to avoid all of this, they should have just like, after graduation, should
Yep.
have just been together and stuff, but yeah.
That's I think deep down that's still really all Corn wanted. He just got forced into having to deal with the family stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I truly wish she had more of a backbone or something to like I understand how we got roped into a lot of this stuff, but he
Yeah, I think
definitely
he
did
thought if
no
he
himself no favors.
no, I think he was hoping he could play the long game somehow and everything would work out.
Yeah. And then it just got like worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Which most of this is Title's fault. Like all of this side is Title's fault.
Yeah.
Like if Title didn't suck and like harass his girlfriend and
Yeah.
like let her break up with him, then Dome wouldn't have seen it. They wouldn't have caused a fuss. You know, Title wouldn't have gone in a rage and killed Dome, which wouldn't have set off Tonkla.
Yeah. Yeah,
So at least,
honestly, this story has like two stories within it. It's the story of like what the domino effect of what Title did and then the domino effect of what the family did in their company.
hmm yeah, because if the family wasn't like that shitty,
Mhm.
then time wouldn't have been involved, and it would have just been great.
Yeah.
So
Or like Great's family wouldn't have been involved maybe if like that's the fun thing about this
yeah,
like the show is it like picks apart decisions and like the
hmm
two outcomes that two different decisions could have. Oh.
yeah, it's there's a lot of things that could have gone very differently.
Mhm. Yeah. So they die and it's later on and Time and Great they both survive their injuries and they're like recovering and they're at the temple and Time he's making merit for like his grandma and Great is doing it for Korn and Tonkla, which I thought was interesting because like Tonkla shot him, but I guess Great doesn't like hold it against him because he literally helped murder his brother. So
yeah,
he's like, oh yeah, for like rest easy, Corn and like your loved one. Like I hope you guys can rest easily together.
yeah, I don't. Great doesn't seem like the type who would have held that against Tonkla, to be honest.
No,
Um,
Great doesn't seem to hold grudges really.
no, and then even then after like tying in like the 4 minutes thing of how he would have if he could have done it different, he would have saved Dome to begin with, and
Yeah. Yeah, if you help someone like murder another person, you kind of can't be upset when someone gets revenge on you, I feel.
Yeah. And then I think there's also the factor of why be mad at a dead person?
Yeah. And also, I mean, it seems like Great does care about his brother in real life and enough
Yeah.
to, be like you and the person you loved, like, you know.
Yeah, he would have found out too that like Horton really didn't need to like kill himself because he didn't like I mean, he tried to help a fugitive, but like outside of
Yeah.
that, like that's probably would have been a slap on the wrist compared to
I
anything
mean,
else.
no one really needs to kill themselves,
No,
but
no, of course not. But like he wasn't as in like as far as like
no,
legally, he wasn't in a bad spot. It was just
no.
everyone he cared about was in trouble, and
Yeah, it
I
was
think
definitely
he
a more
assumed
of
that Great was
a
dead.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was just more of just like I think loss and like
Yeah.
this deep sorrow that caused it. So, yeah, that's really sad, honestly. Like everyone who dies in the show, I mean, I will say like I know sometimes a lot of shows when they're like darker themed, they have like a fear of like killing people and it makes it feel a little more unrealistic. It's like
Yeah, this
the
one doesn't.
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I give them props for that, but of course as a viewer it's always like devastating when the characters die.
I feel like Beyond Cloud is just not scared of killing people off in their shows.
Not at all.
Because I haven't seen all of Dead Friends Forever, but my understanding is that quite a few characters die.
Yeah. I have high respect for it, but it
Yeah,
does make me depressed watching.
yeah. As someone who gets emotionally attached to characters very easily, it's very
Mhm.
stressful when you watch a show where you're like, somebody might die.
Yeah, right.
Probability is more likely than not. Um,
Yeah. Um, and after this we finally get Time, Great, Den, and then Den's girlfriend all being interviewed together. Um, as like the the people who all experience 4 minutes. So like Den's kind of like interviewing them.
so Den's girlfriend is Luqua, isn't it? Like
Yes.
yeah,
They officially they start dating.
that was
Um
cute.
yeah, I know. But then we kind of okay, I think this is real. We get this random ass scene. I'm pretty sure this is real. But so Great and Luqua, they're like, "Oh, we know each other. We met like at the art gallery." I think this is real. I don't think this is in the 4 minute. But this is when like so they go so Great is looking for like a speakeasy or something and he stumbles into like an art gallery and the art gallery is kind of explaining the whole like 4 minute thing. And like Look was there too. And then like Great leaves and he calls Tidal and he's like, "Hey, where's that secret bar? Like, can you just come get me? Like I can't find it." And then Luqua, she goes into cardiac arrest. So I think this is when her 4 minute happened. And of course, because Great, especially back then, just sucks. He just like sees her and just like dips and like does not help her at all.
What a jerk.
I know. But I think this is real. I think this is kind of explaining how Luqua's 4 minute starts and also kind of explains how they saw each other in the art gallery.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I think before this, it was always like this was somehow tied to the like being in the 4 minutes, but I think this was real.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the art gallery is kind of just like, oh, once you go into cardiac arrest, like you only have 4 minutes before your brain runs out of oxygen, whatever. So yeah. So that scene happens. It feels kind of random, but I think it's just kind of tying together some of those loose ends.
Mhm. I think so too.
Yeah. And so Great it's been present day. He is just like a server at a restaurant now. He talks to his mom, who is still out of the country, and she tells him like, "Oh, like go get the cash we left behind and hid for you, so like you don't have to struggle." And also, can you give some of the cash to like the minister, like the prime minister, whatever, of Thailand, so like they will let us back into the country? Of
So
course.
funny.
I know, more bribery. And so that's great. Um, and then like, Great's talking to Time, and Time is like, "Oh, I'm like kind of working to collect evidence that that one like hitman guy killed my grandma and my parents and shot me." But he's like, "Oh, don't worry, like I'm gonna do it calmly this time." Like he seems to be reassuring, like I'm not gonna do anything as impulsive, and I'm actually going through the legal steps to like build up a case or something, you know?
Thank God.
I know, like this is like that's how you get like revenge in a like normal way.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Great, he brings the money to like the prime minister for the bribe, and he secretly records the interaction, and then of course with the power of social media, he
Again.
again, oh my god, he exposes like the politicians' involvement with the gambling den, and of course he gets in trouble with the authorities. And Time asks him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I've decided like I'm not gonna let my parents come back to the country, because if they do, they're still going to do this sketchy business, and more people are gonna get hurt. So I'm just not gonna let them back in, and also I'm not gonna take the money they left for me, because I don't want dirty money." So
For
there's
him.
character growth. Like, okay, great. Like, I see you turning a leaf, and then oh yeah, the hitman, his name's Warrant. I like finally wrote this down.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a full-size dad.
okay, that makes sense then. So the police find him, who's like the hitman, but I guess he had been okay, here's another question. He had been beaten up like so bad, like beaten to death almost. Who beat him up?
Um, I don't I don't know.
No, either.
I
Cause
wonder was it time?
it might have been, I mean, it could have been Time, and Time was just like lying about going about things the right way, quote unquote. Honestly, I kind of support it.
I feel like it was, like, one last, like, dig to get it done.
Well, after that though, we have the scene where
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Warrant is in the hospital, and Time he thinks about like disconnecting his breathing tube, and like but he doesn't. He like, kind of takes the high road for that, and like Warrant like sees him, knows who he is, and he's like terrified, and it's like his heart's beating really fast. You can hear on the heart monitor. But Time ends up not killing him this way, and he's just like, "You know what? Like you're going to be disabled for the rest of your life. You're never going to be able to like walk or talk or like, eat on your own again. Like I'm
Mhm.
going to like leave you to this life for the rest of the time. I'm not going to kill you." So I feel like that was kind of Time's like closure. So I don't know if he was the one to have beaten this guy up. I don't know.
Entirely sure, but my assumption was that that was what was happening.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, if anyone else has any other theories, or if you understood a little better, let us know. Um, I think we've did a good job of understanding everything except like the one part in the temple, and then like maybe this, you know.
Yeah.
So, um, and then okay, this is so unrealistic, but Great, he goes to the police. He goes to Win specifically, and he like turns himself in for Dome's death. Um, and I guess he gets bail, and time is like, "Oh, you'll probably get, like, a light sentence." But, like, why? He was literally an accomplice to murder. He helped, like, dispose of a body, and he was there for the murder, and, bro, like, a light sentence? Was it 'cause, like, he was, like, shot because of it too, and maybe they feel like, "Oh, you served some of your time from that."
Is that he turned himself in,
Yeah,
right? And they take some sort of pity on him, and then, like, the whole situation with his family
I guess, yeah, it's probably all the factors
is
combined, but I was
because
just like, "Oh my god, like, this is, like, a horrible crime, though."
yeah, but I think because he wasn't the one who committed the murder, he turned
Mhm.
himself in, and then he was also the one who, like, exposed, like, the whole gambling thing with his family's business, right? Like, so it's clearly he is not the same as his family, I guess. Um,
Yeah,
I I think it's a combination of that.
yeah. But, like, even though it's kinda sad just to be like, "Oh, a light sentence could still be, like, I don't know, like, 7 years in prison or something," you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where our character is looking towards in the future. But, like, I don't know. I guess I'm used to, like, the American legal system where, like, you get 14 years in prison for having, like, weed on you or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you get 14 for that, but then you get a slap on the wrist for being, because it would be for him, I think it would be what, second degree murder? I think is
Maybe.
is what it would be because
I don't know how the legal system works.
well, so first degree is if he did it outright and like especially if it was planned. So that's what
Uh-huh.
Title would have gotten if Title was alive. Um, and then like manslaughter is if it's accidental. Um,
Murder in the second degree is intentional killing without premeditation.
yeah,
You're still the one who killed someone.
yeah, but I think because I think that's what they give people who were like an accomplice, right? Because it would have been
Okay.
different if he like immediately like called the police and went, "Hey, my friend just killed somebody. I just witnessed it." Right? Like then he would
Yeah.
have he he'd have probably gone through a trial, but he probably would have been cleared.
Okay.
Um, but I think because he helped hide the body,
Mhm.
right? I think is where he becomes part of the murder.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
I think that is how that would work. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
even
I
though
don't
he,
know how it works, but they're kinda just like, "Oh, you're gonna get off easy."
yeah, I don't, he wouldn't have gotten off easy here. Um,
No. But we have seen, I mean, in the show, I mean, I don't, of course, I don't know how, like, institutions in Thailand are in general, but, like, in the show, a lot of these institutions seem corrupt, so I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if he,
yeah,
like, got off pretty free, but, it's a fictional show, of course.
yeah, and
I
I mean, I guess there's like an argument to be made too with him being like an accomplice of like he panicked, right? And that's why he turned himself in was after the panic kind of like settled and he, you know, and that's why maybe he would get a lesser sentence for that,
uh,
right? Because it's he clearly had no intention of murdering Dome. He didn't know what the hell was going on.
no.
Um, and then it was he watched his friend kill Dome, and then it was like, okay, what do we do? You panic, right? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know in my panic that I would have helped somebody move a body, but
No.
teach their own. Um,
And then you get shot by Dome's brother, and that
yeah,
probably takes some off your sentence.
yeah. I don't think it would, at least not here, but in the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, in the show, I can see the argument being of like it was a panic. That's why I turned myself in afterwards. Like, because I bet they weren't looking for anybody anymore, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
um,
because they didn't even the only people who knew he was involved were the fishermen.
yeah.
So,
And then whoever watched the clip,
yeah, so, like, the police who were,
yeah,
you know,
because that wasn't Win,
tasked
was
to
it?
break. No, it was some other guy. Win
Yeah,
did not know there was a second person involved.
yeah.
Um,
So. and that nobody was gonna say anything at that point. So
Yeah. So I guess it does show again like good character development and like it does help his case that like
yeah,
they probably would never have brought it back up that he was involved in the murder, like he was the one to bring it back up. So
hmm
yeah, because of like guilt and stuff. So yeah, that could help his case. And yeah, and then the show ends with great time and they're in a little canoe ride together. And then they have like a little panic where they're just like, how do we know we're not in the 4 minutes right now? And then they like look at their watch and then it becomes like minute 5 or something. And then they're all like happy. And the show ends. And honestly, it feels pretty like bittersweet to me. Like it's a happy ending, I classify it, but it's like kind of like it's sad once again because it's like okay, half the characters are dead. Great lost his whole family. He's probably going to prison. Like
yeah,
time lost all his whole family. You know, all this kind of like stuff happened. It's like, yeah, at least they're alive and together, but like nothing will ever be the same.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. It's like, yay, they ended up together, but at what cost?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
them getting together really wasn't like a factor in any of this. Um,
No. It's so
but
yeah, literally so it like inconsequential to the actual plot, but I'm happy that they've at least have each other, you know.
yeah, that's why I love the my drama list description for the show because
Oh
it's
yeah.
like Great gets these powers, whatever, yada yada. But it goes one day, Great meets Time, a resident surgeon. The two try to get to know each other, and the relationship begins to grow. That is not what the show is at all.
So misleading. Like sure, that's 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's so funny. But no, I really enjoyed the show though.
I did too.
I liked how it didn't make sense for a while, but it wasn't in a way that was frustrating.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. It kept you on your toes and it kept you thinking. Like while you're watching, you understood like yes, it doesn't make sense, but it's not supposed to right now, and you can
yeah.
kind of connect the dots more as you watched.
Yeah, because like I've watched some shows before where like things don't make sense and like they're not supposed to make sense, but like it never feels like it's gonna clear up, and so it gets like really frustrating. Right? And
Uh-huh.
so with this one, I was never frustrated. I was always excited for like, what's the next episode? What hints are we gonna get to have an explanation? Which I think it might help that the cast was like on Twitter, like Jess and Bible both, and I think Fuai was probably talking about it, and Boss and like Simon were all like on Twitter going, "It's not supposed to make sense, guys. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out
Mm.
in the next few episodes." It's like
Yeah.
by the end, it'll make sense. Um,
Yeah.
Which it does. Towards the end, it starts to make sense. I do think it needs a second watch through to really catch everything from the beginning.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of things in the beginning that I just the first time I watched, I did not catch at all.
I know
And
that it's definitely a show you have to watch. You have to watch the second time. If you're gonna watch it once, you gotta watch it twice.
yeah.
And that's like it's even. But then I feel like it's better to watch the second time.
Mhm.
You know, which I love. I love shows like that where it adds something extra.
Yeah, I do too. Because it's I bet if watching it a third time, there'll be other things that I go, "Wait a second, didn't catch
Yeah.
that." Um,
Yeah.
See, I mean, even just talking through it, there's things like we don't really see the relationship between like Corn and Great all that much in reality.
Mm,
We only see it from like Great's like 4 minutes.
yeah. And
And
who knows like what's accurate about
yeah.
that and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, really well done. I enjoyed the show a lot too. I don't know if there's much I would change about it. I mean, I do think it gets pretty convoluted at parts, but I think that's just like, you know, that's what the show is.
Yeah.
And it really like it does once you get it, you get it. It like does fully make sense. Um I think maybe what I would change is like I think it would be really cool if like because some of Great's 4 minutes is information he wouldn't have known yet.
Yeah.
I think I would have it would be really cool if it was like where they edit it in such a way where it like doesn't include that information, like especially with like he didn't know Den, so you know,
Yeah.
only include him in like real scenes and stuff. Maybe they did find a way to like sneakily edit around that. I just didn't catch, but that's like kind of the only thing. Whereas like it'd be cool if you edited the show. Like if you took out like clips, like if you took out like all the real timeline, it would make sense. If you took out all of Great's timelines, like it would make sense. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
watch that as a show itself.
Yeah, because I think the only times it really gets anywhere where it's a little I don't like it is just like dense scenes, right?
Yeah.
Those are the only ones where it's a little like, well,
Yeah, like don't think he would have known this information, but
yeah.
yeah,
But
I guess
I
you can kind of make an argument. I don't know. I guess I'd have to see the way it was edited because a lot of it had to do we were like, okay, this has to be Great's timeline because it involves the lady that he hit with the car who survived. So that's how we know it's fake.
yeah.
So if Den is in a scene with that, that's like unrealistic. But if they edit it in a way where like he's in a scene, but maybe you can't, maybe that lady isn't in the scene exactly, and it's maybe some other patient blurry in the background. Maybe we can make an argument for that being like a real thing that like that scene itself is real.
Yeah, because I mean, there's the one like where Time like intubated the one older lady.
Yeah.
And like the conversation they have around that point, I think would have fit outside of Great's timeline.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, but then like anything that triggers like Time talking with Den about the 4 minute stuff is because Great mentions it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I
that
mean,
wouldn't quite fit.
no. But I mean, even before then though, like Den like offers up, "Hey, I'm doing a new project. This is the first time I've talked about it outside of it." Like he does that early on before like anything happens.
Yeah.
So like there would have been ways to introduce that don't directly tie back to Great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
but
my
yeah.
only like nitpick. Only because like I don't know, the show is really good. And I liked it a
Mm,
lot and I
yeah.
love like weird like sci-fi things. So
Yeah, this
yeah.
one it did a really good